Everybody, Jared with Second Life Design. Do a follow-up video on my log trailer. One of the most common questions I get is how much can it lift? What is its capacity? How big of a log can you move? As I've said before, my trailer is kind of unique. It was used to move propane tanks. There's no real weight rating on it. It was homemade by somebody at some point. They did a really good job with it, but it's homemade. There's no capacities. There's no suspension. There is no set number to go by. I have a 12,000 pound winch on it, run through a snatch block, so it's picking up, vertically, so it helps me a little bit in that sense, but I don't really know what the actual capacity is. I just look at the terms of logs. How big of a log could I get? Right now I'm pretty well matched with the size of the trailer, the width of the trailer, to how much I can mill, so I don't really care about weight so much, just size of the log, how big a slabs I'm going to make. I drug home a really big white oak today. Around here at least, white oak is typically the heaviest domestic wood we're going to find. It's going to weigh a third more than any other hardwood out there. So it's a very heavy, dense wood. It's going to weigh a lot. So I'm going to go outside. I'll show you a video of the log I drug home and kind of give you a sense of how big it is. And I have some estimates on weight, and I'll talk about that as we're going along. So just keep following along, and I appreciate it. All right, this is my big white oak log. May not look very big in this dimension. It's only 7 feet, like 86 inches from one end to the other, but I'll show you in a second why this one is so big. Kind of put it into comparison to the crew cab truck, but pretty monster. You'll see why here in a second. I guess we'll start at the small end. So this is the small end of this log. I'll get some measurements here. Let's see, going straight across it, including the bark, is tape measure. 44 inches, including the bark. Side to side, it's a little bit less, 37 that way. So a little bit of a taper to it, but still, this is the small end. You can kind of get a better sense of how big this thing is now. This is a monster. And on this end, it is, let's go straight across it here. It's 53 inches. At the widest point, uh, 52, 53. Top to bottom is 45. So this is pretty damn big. They don't get this big in this area very often. I'm in Champaign County, Illinois. They don't get this big. This one, the arborist who took it down estimated it to be 225 years old. It was in the backyard of an old farm property, and it was so big that one of the limbs was in the backyard. One of the limbs was reaching over, and it was dropping things in the front yard. So very big tree. So anyway, back to the log itself. You can see I'm kind of maxed out on width. I don't have a whole lot of room left for capacity, and really I don't need any more. I can't mill anything bigger than this. I can only go 50 inches wide normally, so practically I don't know if I don't need any more. The winch picked it up no problem. The estimated weight on this thing is 6,000 pounds, maybe a little bit more, kind of depending on moisture content, but I was able to pick it up kind of no problem. It didn't really bog the winch down, didn't stop it, so the lifting capacity is not the problem. Right now, the tires and wheel bearings that's my concern. These tires are old, they're gonna get replaced. These are just a rib style implement tire. Honestly, I'm probably gonna stick with these just because getting a fancy trailer tire or unique tire would just make it hard to replace. And these are doing the job. These are old and beat up, worn out tires, and they're holding this 3-ton log no problem with no suspension. I can't go full speed, but I'm going, I'm only doing a couple of these big ones a year, 4 or 5 a year, hopefully at most. So I don't need a ton of speed. I'm going local. I'm not going more than 30 minutes away, 45 minutes away. So I go a little slower, I take some back roads, and I'm okay. Yeah, I mean, the tires are squatting for sure, but to be expected with something this heavy. But they were warm when I got back, but they weren't damaged more than they already are. So, I don't know if this helps with capacity, as far as breaking that down, but I'm looking at it as I want to be able to pick up big logs, and I can do that. I don't have a hard number to go by, but I don't really have a hard number when I'm getting the logs. I can't say for sure that, this is a 6,000 pound log and my trailer is at 5,800 pounds, so I can't do it. It's not the way this stuff works. So I wanted a big log, I went and got it, the trailer did it. So that's all I can really go by. I don't anticipate seeing anything bigger than this. As far as wider than this, generally when they're this wide, they're rotten, especially oak trees. You don't see as many white oaks around here. We see a lot more red oaks, but they don't get this big this often. The property owner has one that she says is noticeably bigger than this one on her property. She thinks it's around 5 or 5.5 feet diameter, which it would be cool to have, but I don't know what your practical use is. It's really easy doing the milling thing to get wrapped up in size and just say, I want the biggest I can get. But if you look at practical usage, no one has a dining table that is 5 feet across. It's just not usable. So, this one actually at 7 feet long is actually ideal because it could be a really nice wide table that'll fit in a lot of people's houses. You wouldn't need a giant house to have this thing. So it makes it a little more usable to me. There is the log that was on top of this one. So like this is the very base of the tree, and then the next section up, I'm actually gonna go get that this afternoon, and I'm gonna turn that all into boards. It's got a little more twist in it, not perfectly shaped like this one, so I'm gonna turn it into boards. But trying to talk more about the trailer. It doesn't look like much. It's a spindly little frame of a thing, but it picked up this log no problem. I made it home 30 miles, so the proof's in the pudding, I guess. It's kind of funny, my 20-foot log chain almost didn't fit all the way around it. Almost had it maxed out, but yeah, this is a big one. Get a lot of looks driving this thing home. But any questions, let me know. Drop me some comments. Follow me on Instagram at Second Life Design. If you have anything else, let me know. Thanks.